Let's look at another relationship between forms and sheets using what we call add-ons. So we've talked about add-ons before for docs and for other things. We're going to talk about add-ons now for Google Sheets. So you notice I have a simple math test called Math 101, and notice I have just a couple of survey questions as well as some real simple math problems with the submit button. If I go to my corresponding spreadsheet here, what you'll notice is I have some different names of individuals in my math class, and they've gone through and they've taken the test. I also went through and took this test myself, and you'll see why in just a second. So I have all this data here. Wouldn't it be great if there were a way for these types of questions to have Sheets grade this for me? And actually there is, and it's an add-on. So notice that I have my add-on section here. I'm going to click on that, and I'm going to go to Get Add-ons. Now, I'm not sure who named this one here, but this is called Flubaroo. There are a couple ways to get to it. One, you notice it's in big green right here on the left-hand side, or I could do a search for it. I'm going to click on it. It's going to give me a rundown of what it does. I'm going to hit free, and it will install that, asking me to accept some of these permissions here. So I click accept. It's going to add that in as a menu item. So you notice right here it's telling me that that's what's happened, and it's giving me a short rundown of what it does. Once you've collected student submissions in this sheet, choose grade assignments, and we can go in and we can do some sample submissions. So I'm going to close that. I'm going to come to my add-on, click on Flubaroo, and I'm going to click on grade assignment. So it's going to run that real quickly, and it's going to just take me through a series of steps. It says, okay, what does each one of these columns represent? So this identifies student, so I don't want to grade that. It figures that this is a question, so it's going to say how many points do you want. Notice I can skip the grading. I can do lots of different, or assign different point values there. Once I'm happy with that, I'm actually going to assign 2 points for each of these here. And once I'm satisfied with the point totals there, I'm just going to click on continue. I click on continue. It takes me to step 2. It's grading. It says, hey, wait a second. What are we going to use for the answer key? So we go back to that idea that I had to fill this out too, because it's going to compare all of the answers to the answers that I gave. So I'm going to select that submission, that teacher submission. I'm going to click on continue, and now Flubaroo is going to grade my assignments. Now notice a couple things. It added another tab down here. So these are the submissions. These are the grades. And so it gives you some information here. And if I click on view grades, what you'll notice is that it gives me a summary of that assignment. So for example, I can see that these are the individuals and how each individual and how they did. So they submitted once. Here's their question, and I can also go through each question and figure out the percentile of students that got that question right. So as a teacher, I can be somewhat reflective. It's a formative assessment. Myself saying, wow, they really didn't get 2 plus 2 and all of these other ones. They were a little closer on 1 plus 1, but if I were analyzing this, I'd really want to take and really question my effectiveness for for this submission. One of the other things that I can do in Flubaroo, you'll notice, and I didn't do that, so I'm going to go back to my student submissions. I didn't collect emails. However, if you're working inside of a domain and you collected, or you actually checked your form to say collect emails or student usernames, what I could do is I could come back to add-ons and I could actually email grades to individual students here. So it's going to go through and it's going to say, all right, where is the email address? And again, because I didn't list that in there, I could put in a message. I can include the answer key. I could include the list of questions and scores. And when I hit continue, it's actually going to email those grades to the individual students. So incredibly powerful way of extending the ability of the form where we're collecting data very quickly. We're using the sheet to aggregate that data, and now we're using an add-on called Flubaroo to take and analyze that data, score it, and then send it out to students very quickly. So that is Google Forms, Sheets, and add-ons in a more in an integrative way as we look to use this in our classroom.